Because I was a huge fan of the original series, and I just thought it's a great template for a movie, for a TV show, certainly. But the whole idea of good versus evil, and then bringing this character in who's sort of an everyman, sort of not who you'd expect to be a secret agent or a spy, coming into the mix, and the fate of the world rests in this guy's hands. So I just thought that was a very, very funny idea. He does, sort of counterintuitively, he ends up succeeding, which is, I never saw the character as a bumbling fool. I think he's a pretty good spy. He knows how to handle himself. He can fight, he can shoot a gun, but he's a bit quirky and he's eager, perhaps a bit overeager. But yeah, he sort of manages to make it work in the end. I would describe it as a comedic born identity. I would describe it as a spy movie that is also funny, as opposed to a parody of a spy movie or a spoof of a spy movie. I think it is. I think there's action. There there are villains that are seriously threatening and scary, and there is a comedic side to it. So I think that's at least what we were trying to achieve. What is at stake? The fate of the world. Essentially, this group, Chaos, takes the world hostage, and it's the quintessential spy movie plot of, you pay this ransom or we start blowing places up. So that is basically what is at stake, and what we tried to achieve is to do it, to have characters in a movie that don't know that they're in a comedy. It's just a spy movie, and they take themselves very seriously. Well, I was the first one cast, and then things started, the director, Pete Siegel, was hired, and then the writers were brought on board, and it started to go from there. I wouldn't say I was the engine. I was just the first person that was involved, I guess. And the opposite if it's not. And I don't know what the opposite of an engine is. Perhaps the muffler. I will be the muffler if it does not succeed. But I think it will. You know what? I think it turned out really well. I think it's funny. I think it's exciting. And it's one of those things, you have to promote it. You have to get out there and sing its praises. But I just have a very good feeling about it, that it's not something that I need to overhype. I think perhaps because they feel that and I am not on that side of it at all, like why things are chosen to be made or remade. But I think because in part there's an existing audience, an existing interest, and especially for a big summer blockbuster where they want to get people excited and interested right off the bat, there's a built-in audience for Get Smart. It's a very recognizable name. And, you can say that Spider-Man or Superman or Batman or Iron Man, all the mans, Get Smart Man, they all have a built-in audience. They all have people who recognize it as sort of a franchise to begin with. So I think it cuts that effort in half of introducing a character or a premise. Oh, I think they're hugely important. I think summer movies and these big movies are what pay a lot of the bills, frankly. But they're also just fun. I always loved going to movies in the summertime because I knew that they would be bigger, they would be enjoyable, they would be a ride. They would be something that would just make you happy, and that's what we were trying to do with this. It is acrimonious at first. When he is promoted to the position of agent, she does not like it. She does not think he is worthy of becoming an agent. But that slowly starts to melt away when she sees that he is fairly proficient. He is good at his job, and they kindle a bit of an affection for one another, grudgingly, but it evolves. Sparks fly wherever I go, personally. So I don't think there's any way to quench those sparks. Sparks flew between Alan Arkin and I. I mean, they're just sparks. I am a flint, and others are stone, and we spark. I will spark with no matter who I'm with. Oh, Terrence Stamp incredibly scary as Siegfried. He's so erudite and eloquent, and there's a sophistication to him that I think makes his villain very tangible and real in a certain way. And he is incredibly funny. I remember we did the first table read, and every word that came out of his mouth got a laugh. So I thought that worked out great. I think he has a Swiss Army knife that also doubles as, it's not only an army knife, has the corkscrew, has the, has a toothpick in it, but it also contains a flamethrower, a blowgun, and a crossbow. So these are, I'm hoping Swiss Army comes out with this model. It may be a year or two away, but an incredibly usable spy gadget. I carry around this thing called a cellular phone. It is fantastic. It enables me to speak with other human beings, untethered, no wires, and I think that's what cellular means. It's one of those gadgets, and I refer to it as a gadget. I call it my gadget. I don't even call it a phone. It's fantastic. I can call my wife and say, "Hello, guess where I am? I'm in the car. Look at me, wee!" And she can't believe it. So I'd say that is my most fantastic gadget. I have nothing to complain about at all. It's beyond my wildest dreams. So I don't expect it to continue this way. I don't take any of it for granted. But yeah, I mean, just nothing to complain about. I could not. I'm always in awe of the fact that any of this even happened. So
a happy camper.
Very thankful. Yeah.